Boston Bruins just had the biggest first-round choke in NHL history, and man, this seems like the end of the Bruins as we know it. You have the greatest regular season of all time, setting the wins record, the points record, and then you lose to a 92-point wildcard team that you were up 3-1 on. And in a season where you went all in at the deadline, trading for high-impact guys like Orlov, Hathaway, and Bertuzzi. So now heading into the offseason, in my opinion, they have one of the worst 5-year outlooks in the entire league. Up first, obviously, Bergeron and Krejci are both real possibilities to retire due to the fact that they had to be heavily persuaded to even come back this year. They didn't win it with a super team, so they might hang it up. And when you consider Krejci has already stepped away from the NHL, I think he's as good as gone, while Bergeron, I would say like 75% that he retires. So right off the bat, you might lose your first-line Selke winning center and your 60-point pace second-line center for nothing. And regardless of if they even come back, due to the fact this past season they signed these weird bonus-heavy one-year deals, the Bruins have a $4.5 million bonus overage next year. And for those of you guys that don't know what that means, the Bruins basically just lose $4.5 million off the cap. It's gone. So basically the money that you would spend on a good middle sixer or second pair guy is no longer there. And on top of that, this summer, David Pastrnak goes from making $6.6 million to $11.25. And don't get me wrong, he's still worth that money, but instead of a great deal, now you're just paying market value. Also, to a lesser degree, Pavel Zacha is also getting a raise, but it's only $1.25 mil. And as a result of those three things, that's an extra $10 million on the cap next year, so you can say goodbye to probably both of Orlov and Bertuzzi, because both are going to get contracts worth north of $5 mil. And as for future picks and prospects, it's somehow even worse. No first-round picks the next 2 years thanks to this year's trade deadline moves, no seconds the next 2 years because of the Lindholm trade, and also in 2025, no second. And from the 2020, 2021, and 2022 drafts, the only top 50 pick for the Bruins was Fabian Lysell. So this constant trading of picks and prospects has resulted in them having a consensus bottom 3 prospect pool, with Lysell being the only guy with actual upside. So for the future of the Boston Bruins, it doesn't look pretty. Will they be a horrible team next year? No, it's going to be a slow decline from like 105 points to 100 to 95, and then they miss. And hey, in 3 years, if they have to blow it up and trade Pasta and McAvoy, that will be a very good start to a rebuild. They will get a ton of assets for those guys. But for genuinely the first time in my lifetime, I think we might actually see the Boston Bruins have to go through a full-on rebuild, and that is going to be very interesting.